āśliṣya pāda-ratāṁ pinaṣṭu adarśanān marma-hatāṁ karotu yathā tathā vidadhātu lampaṭo mat-prāṇa-nāthas sa eva nāparaḥ. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Om Tatsat. So this is the last of the 8 verses. The verse culminating in a complete note of surrender. This is the quality of surrender. I don't know anyone but Krishna as my Lord. I don't have any other Lord. I don't worship anybody else. And I am not having any conditional acceptance of Krishna as my Lord. These are all important things to know. This is the meaning of complete surrender. In the material world, you, at least especially in these time and days, you may not actually see something like that so easily. But complete surrender means, I am at your mercy. You can do anything you want with me. You can kill me. Prabhupada gives example of a dog and a human being. My pet dog. So the dog becomes very intimately connected with humans. And, he will throw the ball, it will go and get it. And then he will give the food, it will eat, it will just stand there and keep on putting its tongue and waiting for a command, waiting for an order. You are my master, you are everything for me. And sometimes he gets angry, the owner gets angry, he will neglect the dog. The dog will just and hang around here and there. I'm very busy, I don't attend to you. Then that doesn't mind, but I'll never give you up. I'll hang around and I will wait very patiently. Sometimes I'm in a bad mood, I'll turn around and give you one walloping boom with my walking stick. And then come back again behind you only. I don't have anybody else. You are my master. You beat me, you hug me, you kiss me, you do anything you want with me. I don't know anybody else. Mat-prāṇa-nāthas sa eva nāparaḥ. Don't know anybody else but you. So I know the Prabhupada gave this example. He didn't take the example of one human being with the other, but he took the example of a dog for a human being. I was always wondering, why didn't he give the example of another human being? Very rarely you'll find that. Very, very rarely you'll find that. Why? Human beings are very intelligent. Human beings are very intelligent. They want to preserve their false ego, their position of mastership in this world. Very rarely people want servitorship. That mentality of servitorship is what is being described here. But it's not a foolish surrender. Like you see some big boss having a lot of lands and big industry and that, and all of their assistants and all that, they'll come and pay obeisances like this, and then he will walk around like a big, this thing. Feeling that I am the Lord and Master, all of you are my servants. You have to listen to what I say because I pay you money, I maintain you, and therefore all of you are dependent on me. Actually, he himself knows it's a very artificial thing. As long as my money is there, you will attend to me. As soon as my money goes, you'll go to the next person who has got money. This is called conditional acceptance of authority. Non-conditional acceptance of authority and conditional acceptance of authority. So here Lord Chaitanya is speaking about unconditional acceptance of Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever Krishna may do to me, let him do. He can do as he wants, as he pleases to do with me. So this is a very high level of prema, bhakti, love, that I will never misunderstand you. I'll never misunderstand you. That is possible only when person is in love with another person. The mother will never misunderstand her son. Even if the son does the worst things possible. Even if he gets arrested, put in the jail, punished, everything, he will say, Ayo, you are right, everybody else is wrong. Somebody has done wrong to you. You are my everything. You cannot do wrong. The feeling the mother has is like that. It's sometimes we feel it's a stupid sentimental feeling. I can fool my mother. If I say anything to her, she will think this way, that way, I can do what I want. But the example what we are trying to see here is that I cannot think bad of you. I love you so much that I always want to protect you. Even if you do bad, I cannot think bad about you. Right? This is unconditional acceptance. Similarly, for a servant, his master is the supreme. He does not, even if the master does wrong to him, he is completely surrendered to the master. This is why I told you the other day, I think about Buddhimanta Khan, not Buddhimanta Khan, what is his name? Subudhi Rai, and that Nawab, who was at one point of time working under Subudhi Rai. And at that time, Subudhi Rai has conditioned him and punished him sometimes and even beaten him. But that Muslim person took it very nicely. He was very appreciative that I am being corrected, I am being looked after, I am being beaten if necessary. He never thought it otherwise. But then after he became the Nawab, he became the king, he became some big thing. His wife noticed that he has got these marks on his backside. And she asked him, what is this marks on the backside of your body? And he explained to her that this is Subudhi Rai's beating of me. And then she said, what? How dare somebody beat the king? He said, that time I was not king. That time I was under training. I was a young person. And Subudhi Rai was a very affectionate father to me. And I did some horrible things and all that. So he punished me. And from that, I learned a lot of things. Today, I am in this situation because of Subudhi Rai taking care of me, punishing me, rewarding me, appreciating me, teaching me, growing me. All this is part of this thing I can never forget. The wife said, nonsense, put him to death. How dare, post event happening, she wants to judge it. Before she was married, she does not know Subudhi Rai has got the marks on the backside. After you get married, suddenly you become great at this thing. Who did this? And he thought it's just a sentimental thing. But she became very insistent repeatedly. She said, you have to kill him. You have to put him to death. Now you have powers. Why are you not taking revenge against your enemies? He said, he's not my enemy. He is like my father. Then why did he beat you? That he beat it of affection. She didn't understand. She said, you must convert him to a Muslim forcefully. So this is what Subudhi Rai did. What a wife. And so he asked the minister, somebody did all that. And then he said, sprinkle water on him and convert him to a Muslim. And he didn't bother also because his wife. So looking at the way that even though Subudhi Rai treated this Muslim subordinate in a particular way, at some point of time when he had position in the government and he was doing things, and this Nawab never thought that is wrong. That is correct only. He did it in good judgment. So if a person is able to maturely understand, even in the material world we have this instance. Of course, later Subudhi Rai will go and he will be subjected to this conversion, and then he'll go to the Brahmanas and ask, I've been converted like this. They sprinkled water on me. What shall I do? They said, wow, very, very bad. My gosh. Then he said, how can I get back? No, you are already Muslim. They said, how can I get back? You should drink hot boiling ghee and you'll get purified. He said, what? You'll die if you drink hot boiling ghee. It's 1 kilo of ghee you have to drink while it is hot and boiling. What an amazing cure for being a Muslim and reconverting. Ghar wapasi was so difficult those days that you have to drink hot boiling ghee. Now you see, ghee has made it so easy for you. It has nothing to do with ghee. In fact, they will give you ghee, asli ghee, A2 ghee, if you get converted, which you can use and grow fat. I'm sorry, I'm just joking. But the point is that you don't have to do any of, your point is that you have to be true to judging people. But here Lord Chaitanya's mood is, I don't want anybody, I don't know anybody, I don't think anything is necessary for me apart from you, and you can do what you want with me. You can lovingly embrace me, you can beat me up and kick me. I don't mind. I told you the other day how Shivananda Sena was kicked by Nityananda Prabhu. And as soon as he was kicked, he said, today my life has become most successful. Dust from the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda has been put on my chest. I have been kicked by Lord Nityananda. Right? So happy that he got kicked. So, unconditional acceptance of Krishna is a sign of love. It's a sign of love. It's a sign of surrender. What are the 6 characteristics of surrender? I think some of you may know. What are the 6 characteristics of surrender?
Accepting things favorable for Krishna consciousness.
Yes, number 1. Only 1 per person. Number 2. Who knows? Number 2. You thought Swamiji will keep lecturing. Suddenly Swamiji will pause and ask you questions, because whether what I am telling is useful and retained or not has to be checked. What is number 2?
Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam.
That's all. What is pratikulasya varjanam?
Rejecting the things that are not helpful for spiritual growth.
Okay, so over. 3rd. Right. Okay, who knows this? Anup and Devi Rupanitai. Anybody know? 3rd one. What are you both looking at each other and keeping on smiling?
Atma Nikshepa Karpanya.
No. That's 3rd one. That's not the 3rd one. Rakshishyatiti Vishwaso. Krishna will definitely protect me. Right? Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. There's one more in between. I think I forgot. Rakshishyatiti Vishwaso.
Atma Nikshepa Karpanya.
Atma Nikshepa Karpanya Goptritve Varnam Tathā. Rakshishyatiti Vishwaso. No, it is. Okay. Anyway, Rakshishyatiti Vishwa. Krishna only will definitely protect me is the 3rd one. And the 4th one is what? Atma Nikshepa Karpanya means accepting Krishna as your guardian. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. Karpanya means humility. Okay? So, these are 6 principles of surrender. And what Lord Chaitanya is mentioning here in the 8th is reflected in that 6 principles of surrender as the last one that you will see. Okay? So, the 6 principles of surrender are very interesting. It's each one of them is different from the other. They are not all same. Humility, love for Krishna comes out. When you have love for Krishna, all these things automatically come. Right? So this surrender principle is based on being a lover of Krishna. And the person is very boldly surrendering because he's very confident of the fact that I love Krishna and nothing can happen to me. Nobody can touch me. Even if they touch me, it cannot get affected. I cannot get affected by it. Because of love for Krishna, he is so confident of shelter of Krishna, and he is able to surrender to Krishna. All these things are very interesting part of the devotional psychology. To put it that way, it should not even call it psychology, but the inner feelings of a devotee are not one of misery, problem, that, this, and all that. Our subtle body is filled with hankering, desires, disappointments, lamentation, that, this, all these things. It's filled with that. But the same thing happens to a devotee, but he enjoys all these things. He enjoys the lamentation, he enjoys the hankering, he enjoys all these things. Why? Because the object is Krishna. Because the object is Krishna and is absolute truth. When you have the same thing directed towards the absolute truth, the experience and what you go through in terms of your consciousness is very different. It's very different. So, for a devotee, his internal makeup may be miserable, but it is miserable because of wanting Krishna. It is lacking, it is in lamentation because of Krishna. So that introduces high level of Krishna consciousness. That's what is very important. The person remains in Krishna consciousness, therefore he is completely safe and is operating perfectly. So, āśliṣya va pāda-ratāṁ pinaṣṭu adarśanān. Adarśanān means you may not give me darshan. You may not appear in front of me. That does not matter. Marma-hatāṁ karotu. You may handle me roughly. You may, do anything you want with me. You can even kill me. You can even kill me. Yathā, tathā. Whatever you want, you can do. Vidadhātu lampaṭo. mat-prāṇa-nāthas nāparaḥ. Lampaṭa means one who has a lot of extramarital relationships. Right? So all these put together, you will see is an expression of surrender. In each of these slokas, in the eight slokas of the Sikshastakam, you will see something highlighted as a prominent point in each of them. This is like it's about complete surrender. The one we did yesterday, the one we did the last time, we discussed that also. What is that? What is the 7th shloka?
Separation.
Pardon?
Feeling of separation.
Now, what is the 7th shloka? You don't give some other answer. Patel, what is the 7th shloka? Talk about the first word or the first sentence of the shloka. Yes. Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha prabhrishayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virehena me. Actually, this is the 7th shloka to be taken today. I think we took the 6th shloka previously, last Friday.
No, we did, Maharaj.
We did which one last Friday?
7th sloka.
Sure? Sounds a little strange to me.
Sure, Maharaj.
Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha pravrishayitam sunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virehena me. What is their separation? Like you said, there the highlight is 1 minute looks like 1 yuga, or 1 nimisha looks like 1 yuga. It travels very, very slowly. Yes, we discussed this. Time travels very slowly. And this is exact experience you can also get if you don't chant your rounds in the morning, and if you chant in the afternoon after eating nicely and then doing the japa. So it is called yugayitam nimishena. It will not move at all. It will be Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ennaya, it's not. I've been chanting for half an hour, only one round is not even over. You can get that feeling. It's called Yugayitam Nimishena round, the famous round. If you do in the morning, it will be Nimisha round. 1 minute, it gets over the round. Enthusiastically you'll chant. Have you experienced this or not? Yugayitam Nimishena round versus Nimisha over round? Yes. Now everybody is smiling. It is actually happening in your life. Right? It's happily happening in your life. Why? Because you're so disconnected. In the material world, Yugayitam Nimishena is because of total disconnection. In the spiritual world, Yugayitam Nimishena is because of separation and absorption in Krishna. Time travels very slowly, and actually it does not matter because you're absorbed in Krishna. What does it matter? What is time? Time doesn't figure at all. So many of these things have their parallels in the material world. You can do the same whole Sikshastakam, you can sing about the next door girl whom you are head over in heels in love with, and whatever you may do to me, I don't mind, I love you. You can sing another Sikshastakam for her. And many of these things will become appropriate. The whole Sikshastakam, you can change it that way. The object is the next door girl, right? Who looks through the window and I look through that and we exchange glances immediately. This thing, and then the whole day I'm stunned. Yugayitam nimishena. You can sing. It's all become relevant also to lust as much as it is relevant for pure love of Krishna. So don't think parallelly. The mind is also suggesting, this is exactly what I feel about that girl. āśliṣya pāda-ratāṁ pinaṣṭu is what exactly I feel. Enna pannalume ennodiya kadal is the topmost. It is forever. It is not only for this janma. It is forever. You can do anything you want with me. I remember I told you once this, in my younger days, I used to watch this, this one fellow who was in our locality. He was a schoolboy, senior schoolboy. But he was a deadly speaker in Tamil. This is in when I was staying in Chennai in my younger days. And from the balcony, I was to watch the street, and many times there'll be a pandal and all put there, and the election campaign will be going on. That time they will call this boy to speak, and he will speak like nothing. Everybody will clap. He'll speak about that Pulavan, that poet, and this and that, and Tamil literature he knows very well. So he would sing, and everybody, they would use him for campaigning. So, he was a popular fellow. So he liked one girl in that colony who was looking good, and she was from a better family, and she was studying and going to college and all that, and she's pretty good in academics now, generally good quality. This fellow is like some, not so high class in a social level. So he wrote Kavidai. He wrote a love letter in beautiful poetic format. I'm sure he has worked on it for at least 1 week, because anyway he knows Tamil very well, and he has gone and give it to her in the middle of the road when other people are singing. I wrote this poetry about my affection and love for you, and she said "Chi" and threw it. And then she shouted something at this fellow, and she turned and left. Then immediately he wrote another poem. He said, "Ni tittinalum adu daiviga tittu." He put another poem. I remember this verse alone I remember. He said, "Even if you scold me, it is divine." Then she turned around and took her chappal and gave him one slap on his face. Everybody watched it. And then he got this thing, and again he said something. So this is also āśliṣya pāda-ratāṁ. Whatever you may do to me, I shall definitely. Daiviga tittu. Ni tittinalume enakku daiviga tittu. So it's actually, I saw it and I thought, wow, people go to this extent. And I don't know how they invest so much in people. You get beaten, you get this thing. Anything you do for me, I cannot forget you. So you have parallels for these things in the material world. Don't use the Sikshastakam for your material life. Okay? The Sikshastakam is about the glory of the holy name. It is meant for you to understand love of Krishna and how Krishna is a supreme object of love. And it is a permanent association and a permanent relationship. It's not something very small and materialistic. See? That is the mood you will get if you properly chant Hare Krishna, if you chant it in full rasa. The chanting of the holy name should reach a rasa state of relationship with Krishna. That is what is recommended here. Surrendering to the Lord happens when you actually start tasting Krishna consciousness. And the glory of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna, his qualities and everything are so absorbing that you become completely in love with Krishna. And then you decide that you can do what you want with me. I will never leave you. I'll never forget you. This is the mood of the gopis. This is the mood of Radharani. Radharani, there is a famous Sloka in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which says that if I am so miserable because of separation from Krishna. He's no more here. He's in Dwaraka with the queens and so many nice girlfriends he has got. But if he is happy, I am happy. I am so miserable, but by my misery, if Krishna is being happy, then that misery is my happiness. This is Radharani saying, it's quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. If I am miserable and my misery is giving happiness to Krishna, then my misery is my happiness. How can your misery be happiness? Which shows that happiness is something far, far greater than your misery. Transcendental happiness is far greater than your so-called misery. So these are interesting domains of understanding and thought. I will stop here. Om Tat Sat. Any question or comment? Yes.
Maharaj, if we see our spiritual relationships with Krishna also, or spiritual master also, it is not like unconditional, Maharaj, because Krishna is God, because he is very loving, and because he is promising us that sarvadharman pariteja mamekam sharanam vraja, then I take care of you, like that. Because of that, because that condition is there, we are trying to serve him or love him. And even for the spiritual master also, this second case also, that because he is pure devotee, because he is devoted to Lord, we are serving him and we are surrendering it unto him. So it is not really unconditional, Maharaj, if you see.
No. What you should understand is that our spiritual life goes through sadhana and then slowly goes into spontaneous devotion and prema. In the sadhana level, everything is conditional for you. And you'll be treated conditionally also. You understand? Don't expect yourself to be attached to matter and expect unconditional love from the Lord. That is not going to come. Although it is definitely there, it won't manifest itself because of our own conditioned status. When you're in the conditioned status, you must expect a conditioning type of a prescription. But when you are liberated, then all these things matter, or all these things take place and they become relevant. āśliṣya pāda-ratāṁ. This is not meant for a conditioned soul. It is meant to be understood that a liberated person can come to this point of, love of Krishna, wherein I can feel separation to this level and enjoy that Krishna consciousness. So, when we are conditioned, we are expected to also understand the theory, and our reciprocation is also like that. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, ye yathā māṁ prapadyante tāṅs tathaiva bhajāmiham. As you come to me, I shall come to you. That's conditional exchange. Because Bhagavad Gita is basic of sambandha gyan. There Krishna is not speaking too much of what you read in the Nectar of Devotion. He is giving basics, varnashrama dharma, the duties you have to do, why you should be religious and faithful, why you should do that, this and all that. Right? So there you will see a lot of quid pro quo. You give me that, I'll give you this. Because it's meant to incite you to take up Krishna consciousness. Once you get the taste of Krishna consciousness, then many things that are wrong also, you cannot take it wrong. Many things that are bad experience to you, you don't see it morally, ethically, or in terms of religion, or in terms of what I need. You simply stand there and be available. Okay. So that is an important thing to note as a subtle point, as a comment to what you have mentioned. I hope that helps.
Yes, Maharaj.
Any other question or comment? Om Tatsat. Om Tatsat. Om Tatsat. This is the next movement I'm going to start. If you don't read Prabhupada's books very scrutinizingly, the Om Tatsat movement, inspired by the teachings of Bhakti Swami Prabhupada, out of frustration and out of this thing, we'll have to write underneath. I'm joking. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Maharaj,
See, yeah,
Maharaj, can I ask a question?
sure.
Maharaj, the question is, in what the verse that we saw today is like a goal-oriented one, like you said, Anu Prabhu. It's not the mood that I have right now. So, in what attitude or mood should these prayers should be said? Like, it seems like an affirmative prayers. Because right now, when I pray like this, I know I'm not feeling like that, the separation or
Mm.
So, in what attitude should this be done? Maharaj?
You're doing it and you're appreciating Lord Chaitanya's mood. Lord Chaitanya is the Vrindavan Vasi whom we are following. If you have read Nectar of Devotion, you will see Ragatmika Bhakti. You should follow in the footsteps of a person who is a Vrindavan Vasi and who has got that mood. So we are all following Lord Chaitanya and his mood. And it has been handed down to us. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has handed it down. So that is the mood that you can pick up from here. The mood of Lord Chaitanya. If we get into that type of a mood, and his mood was, you can, if you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so sweetly expressed throughout. Because Lord Chaitanya was always 100% absorbed in Krishna. If he's left alone, he was like completely lost in Krishna consciousness. In Gambhira, where he stayed, these pastimes took place. When he's with devotees also, he's hankering for Krishna, like that, right? So this mood is very important. It's not something that, like you rightly said, I don't feel that. True. That's a very honest expression. But we are hoping to feel that by constantly remembering it and reciting this prayer and requesting blessings from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srimati Radharani, and all the previous acharyas and everybody. We are hoping that by reciting this. So many things we recite from Bhagavad Gita, also we recite shlokas. It is not that we are in realization of the shlokas sometimes, but they are amazing statements, utterances of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that it has become so popular that although I may not know it very well, although I may not even understand it very well, but I'm hoping that by constantly chanting that, by doing that sadhana of repeating it, because it is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, one who repeats the Sikshastakam prayers will develop love of God. Similarly, it says that if you chant Bhagavad Gita every day, you will get this, like this, like this, like this. It says that. So sometimes, although we don't know, sometimes although we don't understand, sometimes although it does not make much meaning to me, I can still have faith in it. Because it's the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? I may have faith on that basis. And I may chant Hare Krishna and everything, and it leads me to increase my faith. That is the mystic potency of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Prabhupada said that it's like fire. If you touch it this way or that way or however way, it will have effect on you. So that is why we are chanting. So I may not have the mood, and that is what Lord Chaitanya is also saying in Sikshastakam. I'm not anuraga. I'm not having attraction for it. I'm not having attraction for it. And he's lamenting that he has no attraction for it and praying to the Lord. So we should also be in a situation where we will offer our prayers feelingly and try our best to practice. And things may happen. Yes. I hope that helps.
Yes, Maharaj. So just to add on, that mood changes, like that verse that you said, that I'm able to relate, that I'm so unfortunate that I can't feel it. That is like in literal sense. But later on, it's like in a mood of following his footsteps and to feel the way that he feels.
If you look at it closer, you can even say it's like a desire to follow.
Yes.
It's a desire to follow.
Okay.
Because it says, I don't have love for Krishna, but I am fully surrendered. Whether you benedict me or not, I am not going to leave you. Whether you give me pure love of Krishna or not, I know only you. mat-prāṇa-nāthas nāparaḥ. I don't know anybody else but you. My prana is invested in you. I don't know anybody else. So that should be understood. Actually, anyway, that'll be a different point. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Yes.